Good morning, coaches. Oh my gosh, it is early. It is like 9 o'clock. Have you guys had your Energize yet this morning? Yes? Yes? Let me see. Mom crack. Cheers to all the mom crack victims. So I'm so glad you guys are on the call today. We are so blessed to have Miss Micah on the call, and I didn't even have a chance to get all of her scoop, but y'all have seen her because she's kind of a big deal in Beachbody, and you can see all her accolades behind her. But she also, we love Micah because she is a boss mom. She's got a gaggle of kids, and like, how many, Micah, do you have four kids? And like, they're little, like they're biddies, like, and she still has been able to, manage a business, run a business, grow a business, and also find that work family balance. And I don't know if it's always balanced, because life is not always balanced. Sometimes it's probably a little chaotic. Because let's be real, like, life is chaotic. And just even if you didn't have a business with children, life is chaotic. So it's just part of the way it is. So anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to, here we go, mute all. So anyway, so that's kind of a fun, we're just so excited to have Micah to kind of share with you guys. We kind of just did this like impromptu. And so we're just so excited about having you, Micah. So good morning. I want to unmute you. Oh, there you go. Yes. Hi.
I'm excited to talk to you guys.
I know, we're so excited to have you. I don't know if you got my message, but you got it? Okay, cool. So for those who don't know Micah, her kind of little, I would say her motto is like, just do your crap. I mean, like, let's just do your crap. And so if you've heard her speak before, that is just so, like, that's just her thing. And you know what? Let's be real. Like, if you're going to manage 4 children and you're going to manage a business, you just got to get your crap done and move on, right? There's no time for fluff. There's no time for drama. There's no time for creating the most pretty post ever, or writing the most like stellar post or whatever. It's just like, get your crap and move on. And so anyway, I would love to hear kind of a little bit background of like your story. So the girls, and maybe there's guys on here, would know a little bit more about that, about your story and how you kind of got started. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I was introduced to Beachbody right after my first baby. So it was like over 10 years ago. And I found 10-Minute Trainer on an infomercial when we were living in a hotel in Florida. So I had a 7-week-old baby. We moved across the country to Florida. Because my husband was playing football in the NFL for a couple years. And so we were in training camp, and obviously it was my first baby. I had all this weight I wanted to lose. I was an athlete my whole life, so I knew how to work out, but I couldn't take my 7-week-old to our little hotel or our little, hotel gym or anything like that, our apartment complex gym once we moved into an apartment. And so I got those videos, and I would do the little workouts with my baby on the bed, and I would shoot for 3 of them. I would shoot for 30 minutes, and if I couldn't get them in, then fine, but that was my goal. And I actually got great results from the 10-Minute Trainer and moved on to Insanity after that. And I did Insanity off and on for 4 years, the first month of it. I never finished the full program. I would always quit. I would get great results from it because it kicked my trash, and my husband would do it with me in the off season. And I told all the people about it, like everyone. I was like, oh yeah, you guys need to get this program. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. So I was sending all the people to beachbody.com to get their Insanity, and I had no clue that coaching was a thing. So then I did those off and on. It honestly was like the only thing I would ever do. And I was the ultimate like yo-yo queen. So I would be all in, and then I would be all out, and I would completely fall off the wagon and just get busy with life and whatever. So I did that for 4 years. In the meantime, my husband stopped playing football. I had my second baby. At that point, I was running a wedding photography business, and I had two littles. And so I was at a place where I was like, okay, I feel like crap. I need to do something. So I went back to what I know works, got Insanity out. We were doing that. And then finally I was just like over it. I'm like, I need something new. Like, I'm so burnt out of Sean and like kicking my trash. So I was like looking up stuff on Instagram, and I had looked up things about Shakeology because I had heard some great things, but at that time we were super frugal. So at that time our grocery budget was $400 for the entire month. And we were in the middle of veterinary school at that point, living in Oklahoma. And so I had looked up Shakeology, and I'm like, it's $130. Yeah, no way. Like, I would never do that. So I was like, hey, whatever. So then I was looking on Instagram, and I think I don't even remember what I searched, but I saw my coach. She had shared a picture of her abs, and I was like, okay, I want abs like that. That's cool. And it was a challenge group post, and she was talking about Les Mills Combat and how it was on sale for $140. And I knew that Shakeology was $130. So I was like, okay, I could get a new program. I could try this Shakeology, and we could figure it out from there. Well, oh yeah, this is important. What I was looking for was T25, because T25 was launching like 3 weeks later. But that lets you know something. So I wasn't going to wait for 3 weeks to get the program that I actually wanted to get, which was T25. So I started with Les Mills Combat, got into her group, like loved just taking care of myself and was having fun with it. It was like a weekend of using Shakeology where I was like, okay, this is amazing. This is making a huge difference. And I messaged her and was like, hey, isn't there like a discount or something? Can't I get this shake for cheaper? And she's like, yeah, you could get the coach discount, blah, blah. So I signed up to coach for the discount, and I told my husband, like, I'll tell my friends about it and hopefully I'll get it covered. And I don't want to have to pay for it. I know like we can't dip into our grocery budget, but this is really helping me. So I signed up to coach with a T25 challenge pack and posted some really lame, I'm a beach body coach, I'm doing a group, I'm feeling amazing, come do it with me. And luckily I had a warm market of athletes because I was an athlete my whole life. So I had a bunch of mom friends that were like, what are you doing? I feel like crap. Tell me about it. So that's what got the ball rolling. And I just kind of figured it out as I went. My upline isn't very active at all. And so she plugged me into Mindy Wender's Star Diamond training or something she had going on. She's like, hey, do you want to do this? Because she saw that I was getting Success Club points. And she's like, you hit Success Club. It was like a couple days in. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but whatever. Hey, you need to be quiet if you're going to be in here, okay? What? Okay. And so she's like, well, our upline has this training and it'll help. I'm like, okay, sweet. So she plugged me into that, and it was like a 6-week training, and every single week they had like a little prize. It was like a PD book or a tank top, and I was super motivated by those things. So I was like, okay, game on. Like, I want a t-shirt. So I just kind of would take what they were saying. I dove into the National Wake Up Call archives, and while I was editing my sessions, I would be listening to National Wake Up Call training or National Wake Up Calls. I would listen to Star Diamond stuff. I was looking up on YouTube certain things, and it did not take long for me to be like, okay, game on. This is so rad. I was just having so much fun with that. I completely fell in love with the process of just helping people feel good. And so I ended up going diamond in like 37 days just from filling my challenge groups and converting my challengers to coach. So I wasn't signing them up to coach from the beginning because I was doing what I knew. So I knew I got started in a challenge group. I fell in love with the process. I converted to coach. So that's exactly what I was duplicating, was my same process. And I wouldn't wait till they were done with the challenge. The second they told me, I love Shakeology, I was like, girl, me too. Let's get you going. Like, that's exactly how I started. Like, let's get you plugged in. Let's get you helping people. And I didn't even understand discount coach, working coach. Like, I was just leading with what I knew. And my team kind of duplicated that. So we ended up going 6-star in like 6 months. And then from there, we ended up going top 10 the next year. And it's all been off of just do the essential things. And so I was super busy. I didn't have a lot of time, but with the time I had, I was doing the most important things. I was learning the things I had to know, not the things like that was just good to know. Like the things that I needed at that point in my business, I was learning, and then I would implement, and I just kept doing that. And that's honestly, I read the book Essentialism really early on, and that I didn't know made such an impact in my business. But a couple years after that, I reread it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how I operate. Like, this is exactly what I do. And it's all about cutting the fluff, making the most important things, just really putting your time and energy where it matters. And that's how I run my business. That's how I mentor my team. Whether or not they do that or not is a whole different story, right? We all know that people can get distracted by all of the other things and put off the things that actually matter because they're not as fun. So that's where Do Your Crap came from, was when I was on a mentor call with a push group. I was like, guys, stop all this fluff, just do your crap and you'll move forward. Like, you guys are making this way harder than it has to be. And that's kind of where it got coined or whatever. And it's been a thing ever since. But since we've been coaching almost 6 years, I mean, we ended up just being able to live life on our terms and be where we want to be. And my husband he owns his own vet practice and is very, very, very busy with that. Like, no matter how much we ever earn, he'll never stop working and he'll never stop doing what he loves. But because of this, he gets to do exactly what he loves. And it's just a blessing. Like, so now obviously we're set up financially, we're doing great. But what helps me show up every day and why I will never stop doing this is because what we've achieved is what I want every single one of my coaches to achieve. Not my dream, but their dreams. And since I know I did it and I'm nothing special, I know that it's possible for anyone. And so I try and just breathe that belief and cast that vision for my team, because I want it for them probably more than they want it for themselves most of the time. But I just love it. Like, I couldn't ask for a better career or way to spend my time every day. So it's a blessing.
That is so awesome. I love it. I don't know why someone must someone logged in as me. Anyway, why is it bad doing that? Can y'all hear that reverb? Yeah. Okay. If someone is logged in as me, unlog in. So anyway, that is super cool. I just love your story. I love that you just like have, that you're just like, get it done and like make it happen. And I know Melissa Brewer fairly well, and I just love her, and she's an athlete. And so I'm like, oh, that's how y'all know each other. Is that athlete connection? Is that how y'all know each other?
Yep, from volleyball. I played against her in high school and then in club. So we've known each other a long time. And then we played against each other in college too. But we were never like super close. So we were always connected. But until this, then we obviously are like best friends now. But I love her.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I met her at she was your guest, I think, at Leadership. And now, like, look what happened from her being your guest at Leadership. That's pretty cool. So tell me, like, okay, so we just talked about, you knew Melissa, and so I'm guessing that's how you kind of know her. But tell me about how you're kind of finding people. You've been in the business 6 years. There's a lot of coaches on this call that have been in the business for 6 years or more. I'm looking at a lot of people. I'm like, oh yes, we've been around together a long time. Some people on here even longer. So tell me how you are finding your people right now, and then also kind of how you're continuing to develop diamonds, even now.
Yeah. So a lot of my people, my original people, a lot of it obviously was warm market, but not hot market. Like, all of the people that I was like, oh, they'll for sure do this with me, and I reached out to them, were all hard nosed. And where my initial people came from was those acquaintances, like the Melissa Brewers and the other athletes that I had played against, but we didn't super know each other, but we were connected on social media. So people who knew who I was in real life, but we didn't know each other well, that's where the majority of my people started. Now I still get some more market people that come back around now that they're like, okay, I watched you for 6 years. Like, okay, it's about time I jump on. And I'm like, okay, let's go. But lots of my people are coming from Instagram. And so I'm really, 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 I will say for the first couple years, I was a terrible inviter. I was a terrible, cold market person because I didn't want to be weird. I didn't want to bug people. So I was oversharing publicly what I was doing so that I didn't have to do stuff behind the scenes because it freaked me out. So those were all of my limiting beliefs that I had to get over with personal development. But I was very open about my journey. You just tooted. I was very
I hear the boys right there.
I was very just consistent. Honestly, that's like my superpower, is just being consistent. But I fell in love a couple years ago with finding just fun girls. And when I go to recruit, I don't have like an avatar. I just want cool girls to hang out with at slumber party, like teen sleepovers. And I want people who just want to better their life. So I speak that in my posts, and that's obviously like when I approach them about it, they know what I'm about because I talk all about that all the time. And so I look from like clothing boutiques that I love, or there's like some pages within my faith that have some really solid resources. So I look there. I go to, there's like a bunch of mom bloggers in Utah because I'm LDS. So there's a bunch of mom bloggers. So they draw in a crowd of women that I relate to. So I just find these solid pages that all of my target people are hanging out on. And then I use those pages to find girls to connect with. So I'm an over connector. I don't do like the colder invite to plant a seed. I really like to love on people before I share the opportunity or share a group with them. And so I've just kind of found joy in making new friends. And that's not how I was before. I was like I'm an introvert, 100%. I didn't really care. I was a selfish introvert until this business. Like I didn't care about anyone. I was very just my bubble, my family. I don't care what's going on anywhere else. And the Go Giver series changed that a lot for me. Like understanding, it's not about what I can get from this. It's about what I can give and the difference I can make. And as soon as I kind of shifted that in my brain, it helped me change what I was doing in my activities and finding joy in those monotonous activities. So I found that when my coaches struggle with connecting or struggle with inviting or whatever, it's because they're being selfish. They're like, oh, well, this conversation isn't going anywhere. Oh, this isn't this. I'm just wasting my time because they're blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you are so in it for yourself right now. Like, how can you go out and make a difference? How can you go out and make someone's day better? How can you go out and be an example and share a message that someone needs to hear that's struggling? Like, and when you shift that and make the business about all of the people that are watching that may not be in your inbox yet, but all of the people that are watching, it helps you show up in a different way, in a different light. And so that's kind of how I approach Instagram, is just finding girls that I really vibe with, that I want to just connect with on a real level. And I love on them and I am interested in their life. And I usually try and connect solid for at least like a month. And then I will be like, hey girl, I've loved connecting with you. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but blah, 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 blah. Like I'm filling my next spots for my virtual gym and I'd love to chat with you about it or whatever. So that's how my flow goes, is I find people, I connect with them for about a month or so. And then I invite them to join either coaching or my group, depending on what I think they'd be a good fit for. And obviously I think everyone's a good fit for coaching, but if they're not already sharing a fitness journey or a health journey or something along the lines of that, then I always invite them to a challenge group first and then work on converting them from there. But if they already are passionate about a health and wellness journey, then I invite them straight to coaching from the get-go. So
you feel like that helps, like in that, because it's kind of like when people are like, eating cheeseburgers, and now all of a sudden they're like, I'm a health and fitness coach, and like no one wants to join them because they just saw them eating cheeseburgers on social media, and so they're like, well, how are you going to help me when I just saw you eating cheeseburgers? So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
That's bad. I mean, I like cheeseburgers, but I mean, so it helps people like have that trust because they've watched their journey a little bit longer, and then in that point you're trying to get them their story before they sign up to be a coach.
Yeah, and that's just what I found is my girls that start as a coach with no experience with Beachbody just have a harder time. They're trying to learn the business. They're trying to get consistent with their own thing. They're like, they don't have belief yet, and that is the missing link 9 times out of 10. So when I can get my challengers to fall in love with the process, get results, feel good, even if they're just a couple weeks in, they'll see a difference. They'll feel different, and then they can share that, and that's what helps kind of dig in those roots a little more. The other girls, I feel like, peace out a lot faster. They're like, yeah, this isn't for me. This is actually hard, So the ones that have that belief in the programs and the products and are loving it, they'll stick around through the stuff a little longer than someone else.
So do those people, regardless, do you usually sign them up as discount coaches or whatever, or do you sign up everybody as like a customer and then convert them to coaches?
I just do a customer.
Yeah.
Good. You just do it again. I just do a customer unless we have the conversation where they're like, okay, like I've got 50 pounds to lose, blah, blah, blah. If they really are like, I need this for the long haul, and I want all of my girls to want it for the long haul. But when I really see that, okay, you're going to want Shakeology every single month. You're going to want Performance Line every single month. When that's the case, I absolutely am like, we just need to get you hooked up with the coach discount so that you can be saving. But that's not my go-to for just my everyday like challenger conversation. So, and that's
if they're like an athlete, do you sign them up as a coach? I mean, if they're an athlete and they're like, say Melissa, did Melissa sign up as a coach, or did she sign up as a challenger first?
She signed up as a coach, but she signed up because they were struggling financially. So she signed up for the business.
Okay.
From the get-go. So, and that's what I do. Like if I will absolutely have that conversation about coaching if I feel like they would be awesome right from the get-go. But when I sign up someone to coach, I just feel like something switches for like when they know they want to do it versus when they're just like a coach. I feel like people label themselves, I'm a discount coach, and then even though they could like get going, they have a harder time like stepping into that role versus if they're a challenger for a few weeks and then they're like, okay, game on, I'm going to coach. Then they're like, okay, I'm going to like show up and I'm going to do this. That's just what I've seen. And I don't know. And plus with success starters, that was a huge reason too, because I've had so many, I think it was with 80-Day Obsession. I was signing everyone up with a coach account because I was like, hey, you're in this for 80 days. You're going to want the discount. So I was signing all of my customers up with coach accounts. And then like month 3, they'd be like, okay, I want to do this. And which was great. I was instilling belief. They were falling in love with it. But then they missed out on the freaking Success Starters ticket. And I was like, okay, that's really lame. Like, I'm sorry, this sucks for you. So I wish they would change that. But that's another reason why I'm like, I'm not gonna sign you up. I'm hoping within the first month as a customer, I can instill belief and then we can transition to coach and then they can hit the ground running so that they don't miss out. But sometimes it takes longer than that. So
will you do that with MM100? Will you do that kind of the same, kind of learn from your mistake and be like, okay, I'm going to sign up all these people as customers and then kind of love on them, in that first month and then go, okay, you're rocking, you're ready to sign up to be a coach kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to give them the option to coach. But if I'm having that conversation with them, I will be like, let's get you going. Let's get you like getting results that first month. And then you're going to have another 2 months of doing this. Month 2, you can invite your friends to do it with you. And I'm going to like from the get-go, even if they're just want to be customers, I will tell them to like invite some friends and do it month 2, especially since with MM100, it's on a 10-day cycle. So essentially in my brain, I'm like, hey, so really every 10 days, you can bring a whole new crowd of girls in and you can still be on the same workout. It's just a different phase. And so, or even 20 days, however you want to do it. But that's how I'm going to approach it, is with my challengers. Like, hey, you guys are feeling amazing. Like, let's get you, like, go find a friend and let's do this next phase or whatever. So that's kind of my game plan for that. Cause I was trying to think, so many people, and especially my coaches, they'll be like, well, I'm in a program. I'm going to wait 100 days till I can invite people till I start the next program. I'm like, okay. Yeah. That's not going to work.
Well, I think that's what we saw with 80 Day is that people were well, first off, 80 Day was so long. I feel like our coaches were just like, all they could do was just get the workout in, and then they were waiting for their 80-day results. And so they weren't inviting during that 80 day. And so that was hard.
Yeah.
So that's really smart. I love that idea of like every 10 days you can add people. So there was a good question. She said, what do you think instills belief the most? Results, community, your vibe? What do you think instills belief?
Definitely results and just really overly empowering your coaches. Like, everyone is their own worst critic. Everyone is their biggest doubter, their biggest whatever. And so I feel like as leaders, it is our job to see our coaches' potential long before they do and just really pour into them and help them become the person that they're capable of becoming. That's what this business is. It's simply growing into who we can be. And when we grow into that version of ourselves, we'll reach our business goals because they're parallel. And so if people are stuck in the business, it's because they're stuck in their personal growth journey, 100%. And so the more that we can just help our coaches grow and believe in themselves enough to show up and be disciplined in the things that will grow themselves and then grow their business, that's what creates results in their journey and in their business. So, but 100%, like, Melissa's business took off when she got a transformation from 2B mindset. Like, everything changed for her when her confidence in herself changed. And so seeing that happen so vividly, I was like, holy crap, like, that has to happen. Like, people have to experience that type of personal transformation in order for them to then have enough confidence to share with conviction. And people can hear you when you're sharing with wimpy language versus when you're sharing with confidence and passion, So the belief part, I think a lot of it, yes, we can pour into them, but it has to come down to them doing the work to get results, to believe in themselves, to have that confidence to do the things it takes to see their business grow.
You had a book in here. You talked about the essentialism. Someone was asking what the author was. Do you know who the author is?
I think it's Greg McGowan.
Okay. And then there was another thing you said, the Go Giver series. What is that?
Oh, it's so good. It's Bob Berg and something else. There's 3 series. So there's Go Giver, Go Giver, Sell More, and then there's like a leadership one. And it's a 3-part series, and it totally changed like my mindset around everything.
Okay, that's awesome. And it's like a book series or like a video?
Yeah, it's a book series, and it's like a storytelling. Like, it's weaving in principles and things through a story. So it's entertaining, and it's not just like principles.
Kind of like is it kind of like the energy buzz? Yeah.
Yeah, similar.
Okay, awesome. That's great to know. And so when you're talking about you're growing your people, and all the coaches on here are Diamond or Star Diamond. So, we're kind of more into like, okay, like, yeah, you're finding people and that's important. And I love how, you're really being specific and pouring into people before you invite them. And I think that's a huge, huge key. Do you set up like a goal of how many people to invite, or are you just like a time frame? Like, I'm going to spend 30 minutes and pouring into people, or?
I don't know how many I end up inviting. So inviting is one thing that I delegate. So yeah. I have an Instagram assistant who I've trained her to do all the things I was doing. So she knows my target market. She knows my girls. She knows all the things. So she will go through and expand. She'll sort them into a collection and then connect in those collections every single day. So once a conversation is started, I pick up the conversation in my inbox from there. But she'll like comment on their stories, or she'll send them like a I don't even know if I don't think she sends an initial message anymore. We used to, but I don't think she is anymore. But well, anyway, she'll start the connection and I'll pick it up from there. And she also sends the invites. So from the same collection that we've been connecting with for an entire month, the next month she invites all of those people. So it's not like we don't really pick out like, oh, this girl's good, this girl's good, this girl sucks. She just invites all of the girls that we've been connecting with. And then once she sends the invite, I pick up the conversation from there. And so I don't know how many we end up sending. I basically invite in waves. So for 2 weeks of the month, I'm really focused on my challenge group and filling that. And for 2 weeks of the month, I'm really focused on coaching and recruiting. So those whole 2 weeks, I'm inviting every single day, probably like 50 a day at that point by the time we've been connecting. And she basically just invites until she gets through the entire collection. So sometimes it doesn't take the full 2 weeks to invite. Sometimes she gets through it faster. But I would say we at least invite like 250 a month to the challenge group and less for coaching because I don't find nearly as many like solid girls that I feel like I can invite to coach right off the bat. So probably only like 50 to 75 a month to coaching.
I so appreciate you sharing with them that you pay someone to do that for you. So like, because I think a lot of coaches don't share that. They're like, I only work like 3 hours a week and I like invite 50 people a week. And you're like, yeah, right. You know? So I appreciate you sharing that. And of course, like that happened over time. You know, you looked at your expenses and you looked at, you know, your time and that sort of thing. And I know you have a nanny that comes to the house from like what, 8 to 1 or something. Is that what you have?
Yep.
5 days a week or
5 days a week. Yeah.
So she has a nanny that comes to the house. So she's being super honest about like, you know, when I've been on calls with you before, I've heard you say like, I have a house, I have someone come help with the kids. So like I can have concentrated, you know, time. And so I think that's super important. How did you find someone to outsource that Instagram? Like, did you already kind of come up with your own thing or how did you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was doing all of this and what I was finding was when life happened and when life got busy, I would continue to show up in my challenge group. I would continue to show up to mentor my coaches, but those are the things that were getting put on the back burner. I wasn't spending time doing my power hour. And so I kind of had a wake up call, like, when's the last time I actually sat down and did a power hour? Like it had been months. I was doing things like in the cracks and whatever, but I had been getting by with just kind of doing bare minimum for my own business and relying on people coming in. And I was pouring into my team because that's just what I'm passionate about. I just love mentoring my girls. And so I decided, actually I didn't decide. This girl reached out to me and she was a previous coach who had quit. She was like, hey, I don't know if you need any help with your business, but I would really love to like be able to do something and help you in any way. And I'm like, okay, the stars are aligning. Like this is meant to be. I'm like, how do you feel like working my Instagram? I'll totally train you on everything I'm doing. And she's like, I would love that. So we started with an hour a day and she now does 3 hours a day of expanding, connecting, inviting. And she helps me with my inbox too. So if there's ever like small talk going on and it's not anything that really is important, she can just go in and answer. If it's like the same question I get over and over or whatever, she'll go in and answer those to just kind of keep it clean. Cause every single day I clear out my inbox. I'm a freak about it. It like drives me nuts if it's not. And so she helps me stay on top of that without going crazy. And it was the best thing I ever did because when we're on vacation in Maui, when we're on Success Club trip, when we're wherever, invites are going out, I'm having fun and I'm living my life and my business is growing and things are still moving forward. And that has just been solid because even though obviously if you send 50 invites out, and I was telling this, I took my girls to Maui for our elite trip. And it was so funny because we were chatting. I'm like, oh guys, my invites are going out. Woohoo. And I was looking at them and literally like 4 people responded that they wanted info. All the rest were like, no thanks girl. It's a bad time, blah, blah, blah. Or they didn't answer me. And I was like, you guys, 4 people out of 50. I'm like, our coaches think they suck when that happens. I'm like, this is what it looks like. And so we went in and we shared that with some of the girls, but it's just, I love that I don't have to do that. But to weed through all the other people, to find the 4 that did want info, that might be ready, that can get going, was just eye-opening. So yes, delegate the stuff that actually matters, not the stuff. And I feel like my coaches do this. When they like hire an assistant, they'll do it for like an hour or 2 a week. And it's for just like the fluffy stuff. And I'm like, dude, delegate the crap that actually moves your business forward, because you can relinquish a little bit of control. And that was my biggest problem at the beginning, was I'm a control freak. I was like, no one can do this as good as I can. I don't want invites going out to the wrong people. And it happens. Like my cousins have gotten some invites and I'm like, girl, I'm sorry, that was my Instagram. And they're like, did you just say Instagram assistant? Like, you have an assistant for your social media? Oh my gosh. And I'm just like, I'm just so sorry. And like, it's embarrassing for a second, but then at the same time, they're like, okay, she's kind of legit. Like, that's cool. So you just have to like get over your own crap, because that held me back for so long. The fear that a friend would get an invite or someone would get something and be able to tell it wasn't me or whatever. I'm like, no, that scared me. And it happens still. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But then I just am real about it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I have a girl that helps me. So.
Yeah. But I mean, because your time needs to be spent on the people you already have, so I know that 8 to 1 is like probably on calls like this, calls with your coaches, calls like, to kind of move your business forward, and mentoring, because your time needs to be spent mentoring people, not finding people where you are in your business. So, so that definitely, that makes sense. But again, she said she did it first herself for a while until she was able to kind of create a system to help teach her social media assistant. So I don't know if you guys caught that. Also, I hope you caught that she said she sent out 50 invites and got 4 people to say yes after building a relationship. So a lot of you that feel like you suck, you do not suck. It's just, sometimes it's just a numbers thing. And you have to you have to talk to a lot of people before, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. That was my motto when I was dating. Kiss a lot of frogs before I found my prince, but it's kind of like that, so you have to, continue to show up and build into those people. So that's really awesome. I don't know how long our call was supposed to be, Micah. I don't want to keep you. I don't know.
I have a call at 9. So
okay. So if you don't mind, let me have like, would you do some more answering some more questions? Yeah. Okay. So, do you have someone doing your social media posts, or do you do those?
No, I do everything. Like that. No.
Okay. If y'all have any other questions, will you put that in the chat if you guys have any more questions for Micah? So I love hearing like the realness and the fact that, so in that 8 to 1, is that what you're doing? You're doing your coach calls, and what are you doing during that?
Yeah. So, well, right now we're doing swim lessons and track practice. And so summer is always a little bit crazy. But I don't know if you guys have Moira's Rise Up planner, but I'm obsessed. I was the world's worst tracker for 5.5 years of my business until I got this. So I live by this now to a T. So it has your week that you can time block. And every Sunday night I go through and I sit down with my husband, and he actually has his own Rise Up planner, and he uses it for his business and life too. And we plan out our entire week. So we schedule in our family time, we schedule in kids events, we schedule in time we're unplugged. And then I get in every single thing for my business. So right now it looks a little bit different because we do have swim lessons and track practice, but like today it's all calls. So workout, and then I have like post on challenge group, post on social, check in my challenge group as like doing that right after my workout. That's just like my routine, but I get it in there just in case life gets busy. And then it's this call, and then I have 2 hours worth of mentor calls with my team, and then I have a cab call, and the cab call's happening at swim lessons. And then that's my whole blocked out work time. So it's mostly mentoring. Other days I have scheduled in time for my inbox, and I have scheduled in time for like follow-ups, because I do a lot of the follow-ups. If I'm noticing that I'm talking to someone more or whatever, then like she misses stuff like that. So I'll schedule in times like that a couple times a week. And then every single night I block out time for my inbox. But it's basically mentoring, honestly. Like that's the majority of what I'm doing during my work time, whether that's going live in my team page, whether that's personally messaging with my new coaches to help them get through conversations, whether that's like I'm trying to look if there's certain things.
I think that's super important. What she's saying is that she's loving on her coaches. And that's how she's instilling that belief, is that she's spending time with them and loving on them and helping them. And that's a huge piece, you know, I think of success. And when I see that, I'm like, I always know, like, a leader didn't just happen. Usually somehow they were inspired and somehow belief was instilled for them. And there was another good, what's the best advice for star diamonds to move their business forward, do you think?
I mean, I'm a big advocate on getting to 1 star with your spouse. I know some people aren't, but I just feel like sometimes it takes time to develop other people. But if you're in this, like, you've got to flip that switch in your brain and be like, game on, I'm going to go after everything I can. And that means getting to diamond, then getting your spouse to diamond, and developing people alongside that. And as far as getting past 1 star, gosh, I'm trying to think what I did, because lots of my coaches still get stuck in like instilling belief. And when I see it, it's because they lack confidence and belief in themselves. So I think the thing that you have to do as a leader, if you're still at diamond or still at 1 star, like gaining confidence and really just working on your own personal journey has to be first and foremost. Because until you can speak confidently about the opportunity, speak confidently about your journey, speak confidently about working with you as a mentor, like, people aren't going to catch that vision if you're not casting it. And so if you feel like you lack self-belief, or you lack belief in the company, or you lack belief in what this can be for you. I know Tara was my success partner early on, Tara Bilek, and she was stuck in her business for a long time. She was stuck at 1 star until she watched success story after success story after success story on YouTube. And she finally was like, okay, if all of these normal people can make this work and can get to this place in their business, then I can. And her language changed, her confidence changed. She started actually inviting to the business, actually talking about the business. And 9 times out of 10, my coaches that aren't recruiting like they need to be in order to advance, or my coaches that are struggling with leadership, they simply aren't talking about it. They're talking about challenge groups. They're really good at filling a challenge group, and that's about the extent. And at some point in your business, you have to flip that switch and become a business mentor and become that leader and become someone who's like, I'm going places I want girls to go with me. And you have to instill that in your posts and in your stories and speak that language to the right people who are ready to run. And you're not hiding the hard work. I feel like a lot of my coaches do that too, is they pretend like the business is really fun and easy, and they don't share the sacrifices. They don't share the hustle. They don't share the grind. And then when their coaches get in and they kind of hit that bump in the road, or they have to step outside their comfort zone, or miss an hour of sleep to get in some essential activities, they're like, wait, what? You made it look so fun. And I'm like, yeah, no, you need to share the grind, because then when people get into it, they're like, okay, I saw you staying up late, or I saw you waking up at the crack of dawn every friggin' day for 6 years. So I can see why you're successful. And when people are willing to do that, they'll be willing to do the things it takes to make it work. So it's sharing that so that you attract the people who do want to work and don't just want it to be like a fun, whatever.
Yeah.
Ride.
That's so good. And you said that with Melissa, it was like a confidence, you know, and I remember meeting her at leadership. She was super shy. Like, and she does not show up like that anymore on social media, because we were in the 2B test group together. And so it's just crazy to see like her, just her confidence and go back to some of those leaders. And if you follow them on social media, which I usually tell you not to follow them on social media, but if you go back and look probably at someone like Melissa, like say Melissa, if you go back and look at her post, October of 2017, let's say, and you look at her post, is that right? 2017, is that when? No, wait, 2018 is when. Look at 2018. No, 2017. Is that right? When did 2B Mindset come out? 2018.
It's 2017 because.
So go look at her post, like say like October 2017, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then look at her post now and see like the difference, because you'll see like it's the same person, right? It's just you will see her confidence grow. And when her confidence started growing, she showed up differently on social media. So then you start attracting different people, and it just kind of goes like that. So I love the thought, if you're struggling with that, go watch some YouTubes. If you're struggling with confidence, how can you, read, a lot of times we read the same book. Like we're like, okay, we're all reading this book, but maybe that's not really the book where you are. Like I'm reading a book right now that I love, The Power of Positive Leadership. I don't know that that's necessarily what everyone needs to read, but for me, I needed that, whatever it is, like, you need to find where, you need to pour into.
I was going to say, if you go back and scroll through Melissa's Instagram, she was a 5-star diamond in October of 2017. It wasn't like she hadn't had success already, or she hadn't already hit goals in the business and then all of a sudden she became successful. She was successful, but the way she shows up and the way that she talks and the way that she just, the light in her eyes is so different because of the personal transformation. And that's what people want. They're like, I don't know what the frick you're doing, but I want your happiness and I want your joy and I want your confidence. Tell me.
And I would have said she was fit before. Like, so it's not necessarily, some people are like, well, I'm already like, I'm already fit. I'm like, I don't think it's the fitness necessarily. It's just the transformation of your confidence. And confidence isn't necessarily based on your abs, I mean, she has rocking abs, but I'm just saying it's not necessarily based on your abs. Like confidence can be something that you start to believe, you start to grow into. So,
yep.
That's awesome. All right. Did y'all have any other questions? Someone asked how much you pay. Oh, $10. Okay, perfect. Yeah. $10 an hour.
Privately on accident.
That's fine. $10 an hour. That's good to know. And if you're looking at that and, you're spending $10 an hour or whatever, and that's time that you're not having, you're able to do other things.
And I know some people I was on a call with someone, I don't remember who it was, who has someone do it from like another country. Like they got it through Fiverr or whatever. And Leslie, what's her last name?
Cordes?
Yes. She pays someone like $5 an hour to do her Instagram assistant stuff. So you can find it for cheaper. I just like that. I know this girl personally. She talks like me. I don't know. I have no problem paying her $10 an hour to help her family. Like it's been good. So
yeah, that's awesome.
You can find it cheaper if you need to, but
yeah. And I think that's something, I mean, I think that's important too, is that they're able to speak your language and they're able to, they know what you're looking for and know you really well and stuff like that. I think that's really important. So
yeah.
If you're going to delegate that, but I mean, that may be something down the road. So, all right. I think, is that any other, if you have to find the right person, I think. So,
and lots of my coaches, some of my leaders talk within their team. So they'll have coaches that need the income and have the time, but their businesses are slow to take off. So they'll work with their own coaches first and pay them to be their assistant until their business gets to a certain point where they're like, I can't do both, which is a great thing. And then they'll kind of retrain someone else. So essentially they're like teaching them exactly what they need to be doing. So they do them in their business, and then they log out of their leader's business and go do it in theirs. So it helps their business grow too. So that's also something that you could do, is start within your team first and then go elsewhere if you can.
Well, and the nice thing about that is your team members know you, right? So they know you, they know. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to let you go because you have another call coming soon. And we are so grateful that you are on today and helping us. And we're so, so grateful that your son spent time with us as well. It was just a blessing. So, but we so appreciate you taking your time. You totally didn't have to do this. And we just so appreciate it. And we will be praying for you on the CAB meeting today because CAB is not easy.
Oh my gosh.
So we will be praying for you and like legitimately praying for you. Everyone on this call, you must say a prayer for CAB today. That's very important. And yeah, we appreciate you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Enjoy your swim lessons and we will talk later. Bye guys.
See ya.